I am B. Ryder, co-host,
J Bell.
and this is
Final Thoughts.
Today's topic, we'll be discussing should men get married in today's society. We have our special guest this time. You know, I think we're just gonna do no live, huh? Gotcha. Special guest, what's going on?
I'm Ray Harry. Yeah, that's basically it. That's me.
It's Ray for Harrison, but
And
the special guest.
All right, I'm done spragging.
two married gentlemen, because we felt like it wouldn't
Yeah.
be entirely genuine for two single men to talk about the concept of marriage alone. So we brought two of our good buddies with us who are married to talk about this issue. So how we gonna kick this off? What's the question? What's the
So
main-
let's just answer the actual
The
thumbnail.
bones of it.
Yeah, should men get married in today's society?
should men get married?
Should they?
So what's your thoughts on that?
Of course, my thoughts would be it's entirely situational. But I can only speak from my personal point of view.
Absolutely.
And I am a firm believer in not getting married. As crazy as that sounds.
As a married man.
Says the married man.
Why?
For 10 plus.
As a married man, it is obviously kind of weird for me to have such a stance. But
Right.
I was married when I was 24. I got married when I was 24, so I was younger, and I became a different person over time. My thought process has changed and evolved.
Yeah.
With that said, I am still married and have been married, and we're happily married. I guess you could say happily married.
How many years?
We'll be 14 in May.
14 years.
14
of
years in
marriage.
May. So, I mean, we're married, happily married, if you want to put it on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, should they get married? Situational, but I'm a firm believer in not getting married, and we can get into greater detail in that later.
Clearly the key word is situation. I mean, obviously, I've done this twice. So
this is your second man.
yeah, it's my second go. But just like yeah,
Shit.
exactly. But just how like how you said though with the growing, obviously I wish there was a situation in where I had not typically wasted the time the first time but I did grow in that situation. I found out who I was and who I am now, which made me better for the situation that I am in now. So obviously there needs to be, and I said this to you before, you got to vet the situation. Vet, because it wasn't like that for me the first time around. I was married 8 years the first time, and I didn't vet the situation. It happened fast. You know this. You was there. She got pregnant.
You were there?
I was.
Yeah,
Okay,
he was
just-
he was
just
around.
trying
He was
to
the
get-
best man.
Fact check.
True story.
Yeah, true story. Shit.
Long time friendship.
Yeah, long time. We talking.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
I'll keep.
Decade.
yeah, yeah, we talk about over a decade of
Yeah.
all of us being friends. So
Yeah.
you was at the you was there too. So
I was.
so I mean, you know, she got pregnant. You remember this? She got pregnant. I caught myself in this situation where I was trying to do the right thing, so to speak. So my first marriage wasn't like out the wazoo. You know what I mean? So it's a completely different situation. It is situational, but I think people can still do it and be successful in it.
But should men do it?
Should they?
Yeah.
Or should they do it, or should they
Because
want to
it's a
do it?
general, it's a general,
Right.
statement.
It's a
that-
blanket
question.
statement.
Yeah.
So it's not. We're not gonna detail it specifically to any individual man. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that it is in a man's best interest
To get married.
to get married?
Hell, I mean, in their best interest, it shouldn't be. It's not in anybody's best interest. Not in anybody's best interest.
Well, I'm gonna disagree on that. Marriage, for as long as I can remember, has always benefited the woman more than it has benefited the man.
In what way?
We're talking about financially.
I'm talking about financially, socially. You know, they flash their rings. They get to, you know, say, you know, claim the status of wife.
Of
you
wife,
know.
yep.
You don't really
Very
hear too many.
coveted
You don't really
status.
hear too many men claiming the status of, oh well, I'm her
I got the
husband.
ring,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I got the
right.
ring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I locked
yeah.
her down type deal. But as far as women, they get to claim all that, and then on the negative side of marriage, which is divorce, the court systems tend to go lean towards the women.
Now,
So-
I will definitely agree with you. Obviously, I've been through it.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you that it benefits them in the divorce situation, but who's to say that in the marriage it benefits the woman more? Like, not all guys are such a prize that it's benefiting this woman so much. Like, finances are, I mean, you know, the game has changed. You might get with a woman that's making more than you.
Right.
That's
Well,
the type
I'm
of
with
character.
a woman that's making more than me. But it didn't start like that. It didn't start like
That's true,
that.
that's
There
true.
was marriage life, but that's neither here nor there. But but what I will say is, women, even if the guy's subpar, that she still would claim wife status to be socially accepted, and also to, I don't want to say flown it, but flown the fact that she's married.
Marriage.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
and
That is a thing in like women's culture to be like, with guys it's like getting as many women as possible or getting beautiful women, and for women it's like getting
Finding the
someone,
guy.
one guy who sticks with you, right?
Right.
So that's kind of a part of their culture that's different from ours, right? But as far as like marriage, and we talk about marriage, right? Is it like it's not the same thing for a woman to be married and for a man to be married, right? I think we can agree on that.
But
Right.
one could
It's
argue
very
that
different.
those roles should be reversed. What you just said about how we value it, how we view it, as we need to get all these women, and they have so many options that men probably should value finding a good woman more who would stick with them
I could,
more
I
so
could
than
agree with that.
the other way around.
but I, like speaking as what the climate is now, right?
that kind
What
of
it
does
is.
speak towards what the climate is now. Hot girl summer, city girl winter.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You know,
There's
so-
a bit of a change.
So yeah, finding a good woman in today's climate,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a little.
It's a different thing.
It's more sticky than it used to
Right.
be. So the question goes back to should a man get married in this climate or whatnot?
So I want to get into like, is it marriage or is it divorce?
Divorce is definitely
Is the problem marriage or is the problem divorce? Is it a man can get married so long as he doesn't get divorced?
So long as he stays married.
Right.
there's
But
all right.
once you get into the realm of
consequences
divorce,
Okay.
of
right.
There's two.
That's
two
why they always say it's
substantial.
cheaper to
Yeah.
keep her.
Right.
Type of thing.
Yeah, but
Right.
there's two things here. So
He said, yeah.
there's two things here. Clearly divorce for sure, but also it's not that the problem is marriage. The problem is just wanting a marriage, not wanting to do the work. Marriage is work. It's hard. You have to put in work. Some people just want to be married and not want an actual marriage.
I agree with that a lot. Yeah.
So the problem isn't it's people per se, but basically it's people. You need to find someone who is willing to do the work. And if that person is not going to do the work, then it'll inevitably end up in divorce, which is terrible, which is horrible. Obviously, I went through it, which divorce wasn't that bad. I accepted the fact that, hey, this situation didn't work out.
Yeah.
It was, again, the person who you're going through a divorce with. My ex was a horrible human being in a sense.
drinker.
And I'm not, and I'm not saying this because, and it's not a typical, oh, he's just saying that because you've seen it. You have seen situations with it. We have discussed it. It's just,
Plug that in for me. I'm sorry. Random shit out
Random
here.
guy.
Yeah. It really was bugging shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Into the
That's what you keep it charged on.
Makes it work. Yeah.
Oh.
But
Technical
it's
difficulties together.
but yeah, you know what I mean. So it's obviously she had done things that showed like really her true colors. Obviously through the of the divorce proceedings, and even now at this point, because obviously we have kids. But so yeah, I mean,
That's a whole other aspect.
yeah, that's a whole nother aspect. The children, which is cheaper to keep.
All right, let me. Do you mind if I hit on that before?
Go ahead,
the
yeah.
question? All right. To touch on what you said, marriage is work. Any relationship is work. If you want it to work in the monogamy setting, it's going to be difficult on both ends. I feel marriage is the title that people are seeking.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel it's unnecessary for success in a relationship. This is what I was hinting on earlier. I am against marriage, but I am not against a successful relationship. Everything that comes with marriage, you got your prenups, which a lot of women disagree with.
Right.
But you have such a high rate of divorce. I don't have the exact statistics in front of me or whatnot, but divorce is in such a high rate. You have two men right here, so it's a 50% divorce rate at this table.
I think that's what it reflects in society. It's
Yeah.
about,
Right.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there you go.
And it's usually women who initiate.
Initiate.
No,
the
yeah, it
divorce.
is. It is.
Right.
It is, it is.
So my
'Cause it's cheaper to keep.
It's cheap.
it's cheap.
It is.
It's cheaper.
I know
to keep her
more,
if she wants to be kept.
Yeah, of course.
If she wants to be
Of
kept.
course.
But yeah, so the title marriage, I think people seek the title instead of the successful relationship that they feel a marriage exudes. So I don't think you need the marriage for the successful relationship. Marriage is just basically paperwork. That's how I feel about it. It's basically paperwork.
A business agreement.
An
Yeah,
agreement,
yeah,
which
definitely.
people can draw up themselves. But as I said, a lot of women disagree with prenups and such. But marriage itself is a contract.
Yeah.
You literally have a license to get married.
Yeah.
That takes me back to
So,
the who does it, what benefits do you get from the situation? I was like, nobody really, cause like taxes, your whole taxes change
Yeah.
when you get married. The way you file, the situation, it changes. It doesn't benefit either one of you sometimes unless one of them is in school, going to college, and getting a huge chunk of money back.
Well, I mean, we have traditional marriages and we have 50-50 marriages or whatnot.
Right.
But in the traditional
What's a
marriage,
50-50 marriage?
that's where
Yeah.
everybody splits the bills.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah,
both
yeah.
parties are working and
Oh,
whatnot.
oh, okay. That's what you meant. All right.
Yeah. And then the traditional marriage would be the
man
providing.
The man provides. So that's why in the initial response to the question, I was like, it benefits women financially because most women seek the traditional marriage.
Well, of
But
course.
I'm
You
most-
gonna pay the
women,
bills.
Most women seek the
But I actually
traditional
come across
marriage.
more men who want the traditional marriage than the woman do. Like a lot of women now, like these new age. My current wife now, she's
It was
she's
supply,
a part of
supply.
that generation with
Yeah,
Z.
yeah.
It's a Generation Z. She's Generation Z. We're considered millennials. She's Generation Z. She's about going out, working, contributing,
Right.
doing things. It is a
Yeah.
it's a 50-50 situation, but it also is a typical traditional situation because I am the head of the household and the leader in so many aspects. But when it comes to obviously contributing financially, it's there. So it's just a give and a take. It's who's willing to be submissive in what areas. Sometimes you have to be submissive as a man and let your woman do a little something sometimes. Like, yo, you got this. I see you. But you know what I mean? But they got dudes who don't want that at all.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you need to stay in the kitchen. I'm not trying to hear that.
Barefoot,
Like,
pregnant.
Go to work.
Where's
What you mean
sandwich?
work?
Sandwich.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, obviously there's women who obviously seek out the,
Right.
you know.
What about the
What's the question?
what about like I want to get into details specifically, right? What is
About to get
it
sticky.
specifically that benefits a man when he gets married? Like if we got to talk about finances, we got to talk about within the relationship culture. What specifically does a man get when he says "I do"? What do we get?
What do we get? Let me see. You wanna?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we get?
Y'all playing spike ball?
No, I mean, obviously, it's also that's also a matter of perception too. Like, I mean,
Let's talk
Yes.
about finances, right? Talk about finances and then talk about everything else outside of it. Is there anything in finances that a man gets when we say I do?
I think that depends on who you choose to marry, but I mean, yeah, if you with a woman who likes to share, clearly you're benefiting from that.
Right.
What's the typical thing we see?
What's the
You
typical?
said if you're with, I know we get that there'll be variances, right? But what do we typically see? Is what I'm asking. What do we typically see in marriages? Financial, the financial aspect of marriage is typical.
Yeah.
Like if you are the breadwinner,
Which
as
one?
a man,
The man the man typically doesn't benefit financially
Right.
from marriage. Now,
taxes included.
I mean, again, that goes back to if it's a traditional situation where she's not working at all.
Oh, then he's benefiting taxes wise.
Taxes wise, yeah. But if
Yeah.
she's working, then the brackets, like
Yeah,
we said,
yeah,
would be.
So that would be
skewed.
depending on the situation, what
Right,
she's
right,
making,
right.
what y'all are making,
Right,
and putting it together. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you may benefit.
It's. I wouldn't say it's enough to.
But we
warrant
talking-
marriage.
we- now we
Like,
talking-
Okay.
but now
Okay.
we-
So if you benefit from taxes, you also lose the benefits during the year. Essentially, you have another dependent. I hate to say it, ladies. I hate to say it like that, but if you're the breadwinner and you're controlling the financial narrative of your household, and she's a stay-at-home mom, I know the job is tough. That's not what the question is. But if she's a stay-at-home mom and not contributing to any of the bills, any of the financial responsibility, then she's a liability.
I hate to
Okay,
do this.
okay. You might have to go to the grid.
Ladies, don't misunderstand.
Let me say this.
Don't misunderstand me.
Liability.
Don't misunderstand me.
Let me say this.
My boy had like
It's-
5
it's-
disclaimers.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had to-
It is the definition. It is the definition of a liability.
Backpedal. He
That
was
is-
Deion
that is all.
Sanders out
It's
there.
17 may not be suitable for all. Please.
Let me say this though. Everything it's like alchemy, equivalent exchange. Everything isn't. You don't put in finances and then give back finances. It's like the energy thing we was talking about. It just shows up in a different place. You are entering an agreement. You're telling this person, okay, I'm the financial provider. All right, well, in exchange for that, I'm taking care of this, this, and this, and this.
It's a role,
everything else.
right.
Yeah, it's a role you play. It doesn't have to. Some people halfway through it figure out that they didn't like being in that role or servicing that role, or they wanted a different role, or they wanted the role to play out a different way. But that is what you're saying when you enter these things. You need to understand that. This is also comes with understanding yourself, what you want, and what you want somebody else in your life to contribute.
So what about emotionally? Do we win out emotionally by saying I do? Or do we get?
I do now. Now.
He's in love. He can't hear us.
Disclaimer.
He can't hear
Forgive
us.
me for loving my wife.
It's okay, Russell.
I was supposed to be like,
It's all right, Russell. We like you.
I was gonna say all this stuff about marriage, and then, I'm gonna say all this stuff about marriage, but in the end, I hate her. Like, no, no, man, I do because
Right.
we was talking about this the other day. She's an empath. She's emotional.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Right.
she is very
Y'all
giving
have,
emotionally. Yeah, because I'm not that type of person, but I do in a sense need it from someone when
To
I
make
need
you understand, like,
Yeah.
you probably should
Yeah.
have emotions about this.
Yeah, about
yeah,
saying
kinda-
this and or be
I
compassionate
feel
about
I feel you on
Yeah.
that 100%.
Again.
Uh-oh.
Disclaimer.
Put the stake in our hearts now. Come on, now, give it to me. That's what I want.
Marriage is not the barometer for emotional security.
Okay.
If you're in a secure relationship,
Bars.
then that emotional blanket or that emotional support should still be there. Granted, men aren't as emotional as women, so I would say women would win out overall.
Ooh, boy, that's that statement gonna cause some.
Listen, ladies,
It might be
ladies,
some uncomfortable truths.
ladies and gentlemen, these are all facts. Okay,
He said the F word.
Women are more emotional than men.
No,
Men have been conditioned.
No comment.
Men have been conditioned to be less emotional.
Yeah.
And
It's a part of
upbringing
our culture.
and culture, whether be it the black culture or be it the American culture or just guy culture in general,
Well,
or masculinity or
well-
whatever word you want to put on it. Women typically are more emotional or show more emotion than men. But if you're in a secure relationship, you don't have to be married to have that emotional pillar.
But we also talking generational too. Like that's our generation, right? Or the generations before us.
Before
This,
for sure.
These new generations, the dudes are extremely emotional.
You're not wrong.
Like extremely.
I listen.
Damn.
I'm just saying, bro. Like
what we talking like,
extremely emotional. Like dude, like shut up, emotional.
I don't listen.
My
Listen.
feelings.
Yeah, but I feel like,
I
dude,
feel-
like,
I hear you.
shut up.
I
You're
understand.
being way
Now
too
shut the
emotional.
fuck
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Emotional.
You're looking real emotional, man.
So maybe in
across
today's-
the board is not 100%. I don't speak in absolutes. It's not 100%, but I can agree that I do feel that this generation is a lot softer than previous generation.
But is that necessarily a bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm
it's
saying
not.
it's a
Well,
bad thing. Yeah, I don't
it's
think
not
a great
necessarily
thing.
a bad thing,
it's
but
just different.
it could be different. It could be difficult, as your last episode, cancel culture.
Yeah, you have to walk on eggshells all the
that
time.
branches off of that emotional
That's part of it.
disposition.
That's part of it,
Yeah.
definitely. So that's the emotional side to it. Finances, emotional. Is there anything outside of those two things that we get when we say I do? Right?
Well,
Those
there,
are
like-
positive.
Right.
there is
Directly
there is a
benefit.
list of things that people associate with marriage that you're supposed to get. You're supposed to get financial stability. You're
Right.
supposed to get emotional support.
Right.
You're supposed to get a monogamous partner. You're supposed to get a loving partner.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get, if you have kids, you're supposed to get a supportive parent, a co-parent.
Co-parent, yeah.
Co-parent. You're supposed to get all these things. But as I said before in the show, all of these things can be obtained without the license, without the paperwork, without the ring. It can all be obtained. Now, I'm not against a dynamic relationship that goes the distance, but marriage itself is just,
Unnecessary.
So,
it's not necessary.
so why did you get married?
This goes back to a previous episode that you guys had. Women shoot your shot.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Y'all should watch that episode.
Yeah, you guys should check out Final
Shameless plug.
You should check out that Final Thoughts. I agree with a lot of the stuff y'all said on that show. Women, you should shoot your shot. My wife shot her shot. Not as far as us getting together. She just presented herself,
Initially,
and I engaged her, but she proposed to me.
Wow.
I never knew this.
Wow.
You knew this?
Listen,
She proposed.
boy.
And how long y'all been married for?
we've been married for 14 years in May.
Y'all
14
happy?
years in May. Yes, happy marriage. Just happy marriage.
Ain't that something?
And she proposed. Okay.
She proposed to me.
Shooting shots can get you something.
Come crazy.
She sunk that one. Boy.
It wasn't a long drawn out get on one knee like most women think. I would never get on a knee, and most women disagree with that whole dynamic.
Yeah.
And I understand let the man be a man and whatnot, but shoot your shot. You never know. We've been married for it would be 14 years in May. And I mean, that's what happened. But yeah, I was younger. The reason I got married, I was younger. She asked. It wasn't on my mind at all. Like at all. We were happy. We were in a relationship. We were going a distance. We didn't have any kids at the time together. But everything was
Fine.
everything was great for me. You know what I'm saying? But she was looking for the next step. And shoot your shot, ladies, because it was not on my mind at all. I was 24, she was 23, or I was 23, she was 22, and then a year later we got married. But she shot her shot. She asked. I said yes, and the rest is history. That's why I got married. Now, growing over the years and seeing all of the unnecessary links to marriage, be it for Christianity reasons or whatever religion, because that's what marriage stems from for the most part, is religion. You don't have to
Do that.
do that. You don't have to get married to have all those things I just listed: a supportive husband, emotional pillar, a financial
partner. Right.
You don't have to be married to have all those things. Now, being married will tie the finances up. It will tie the parenting up. It ties everything together. And I get the semblance of it, of us being one together and everything, but that kind of makes things sticky, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean,
Because divorce rates are so high.
yeah. So let me ask you the same question. Why did you get married? We're gonna speak about the recent one.
The recent one, yeah. So
Let's go, Russell.
Okay, so I'm trying to think back whenever I was in a situation where I was talking to a lot of different women at the time after being divorced. I was talking to you. I believe I also told you. You had asked me if I would ever do it again, and I was like, nah, man, I'm probably not gonna do this again. And then I ended up meeting my current wife, and it was like, at first I was like, well, this is gonna be a good dating situation. Like, we're gonna date, it's gonna be cool. I'm comfortable in this situation, and then obviously I got to know her more, and it got to the point where it seemed like I said, everything I previously went through had set me up for this situation specifically, because it just seemed like everything kind of just fit. It just fell in line.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I said, I'm an advocate for marriage, so it was kind of one of those situations like after so many pieces clicked, it was like, well, why are we not married? You know what I mean? So it was like, let's do this. Is this something you want to do? Obviously, yes, she wanted to do this. She wanted to be married. I have no problem being married. Let's get married. I love you.
So even
that's so sweet.
so even after swearing off marriage, you met somebody and it changed your mind about it.
Yeah, it changed your mind. Obviously, it's all about the people.
Right.
Obviously, my wife is, like I said, she's Generation Z, so she's in that 24 years old range. I was 24 when I first did it. I'm 34 now. But she also, her experiences and things she has went through life has matured her in such a way where when you meet her and you talk to her, she comes off like an older person as well. So she's not your typical.
She got that little old soul.
Yeah, she got a little old soul to her. So she's not like the typical 24-year-old. So
I was a little worried.
Yeah,
I was
when because that's a very, very younger woman.
Yeah.
We old coots.
Yeah.
What I'm like.
Hell yeah.
And I was just like, dang, you show?
Right.
You show? You ain't been drinking, huh? You sure?
That's
a very young woman, bro.
The things y'all were saying to me was the same things I was saying to her. Like, you sure?
Right.
Are you sure? Like, you don't have more stuff you want to do? Like,
Yeah, get it
maybe
out your
find me
system.
3 or 4 years from now. You
Yeah,
sure?
yeah,
I
yeah.
know you ain't a pimp, but pimp, remember just what I told you. Your heart be still. Your heart.
And I do. I mean, I'm still keeping my heart. She holding on to it too at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just,
That's
Yeah.
dope.
it's just one of those things. It just ended up falling in a place like that. It's just a good situation.
It's like it's nice.
I mean, it is, man. You know?
Nice.
So let me do a little twist. So we're the only two that's not married.
Aren't. Right.
Yeah, we aren't married. So they're married. So I think we should answer the question too.
Yeah, definitely.
Should men get married
Yeah.
in today's society?
I can see the dread on your face already. Just the thought of it, like, shoulda.
That's that emotional side of men. Right?
That's bringing out you right now. I'm on
Gonna be right.
I'm on the side of I don't really see much of the benefit to it personally. I'm like, for me, it's nowhere on my mind as of right now. Like I'm not going to do it. As far as if I can speak of right now, this moment, it's not on my mind. I don't have any intention to do it. It would take someone very, very special to convince me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I'm like,
No, because you know, man, like, let me tell you something. About you. You always,
Let's go.
see,
Let's
this is your
have it.
thing, and I bet this has been you since I knew you day one. You always need the perfect. There's not gonna be a perfect situation for this. You're never gonna be in a situation just like we're having kids. There's never a perfect moment. There's never gonna be a moment where you're like, all right now we can have kids. It's a perfect moment. It's never gonna be like that. Just like we're finding somebody you want to be with the rest of your life. It's never gonna be a person that's gonna descend from the heavens and be like, I'm perfect
I'm
for you.
And that's
Or ascend from hell.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah,
For you.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
and that's
You want take it away. So
and I think that's part of my problem is that I'm like kind of waiting on that, but I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not gonna happen, so I'm not gonna get married. It's like the probability of that happen is very low. So since it's probably not gonna happen, I'm not gonna get married. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it. And it's kind of, it's unrealistic for me to expect like that caliber of woman to just kind of fall into place like that. So for me, I'm like, as of right now, nah. Like it would take someone extremely special
right
to
there.
pull that out of me. But
I feel
I haven't met that person, and I don't expect to meet that person.
Wait, what's
So,
Cameron?
I mean, because marriage is more so not being with someone you love, but more so being with someone who faults and horrible failures you can tolerate.
Let's go, Russell. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Preach.
Not wrong.
Marriage.
Marriage.
Where you at with them?
Oh, Mirage.
At this point in my old age, I would say I'm open. At first, I was kind of like, yeah, what's the point? Because I still kind of feel like, what's the point? But I do realize that marriage is very, very important to women. And if I love you enough, then I'll take that extra step with you. So I would say I'm open. But if I do find somebody that's like, they'd be like they're adamant against marriage and just like I don't want to get married, then I'm not gonna. Okay, cool, shit. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But if I do know that for a fact that marriage is a goal, like I said, because I love you, I will take that step with you. So,
I feel like that's damaging. I feel like a lot of marriages are forced upon a lot of men for that reason and other reasons. Like, oh, well, my I'm getting too old. I need to get married.
Is it forced though?
Well,
Because like if it's something that I'm like, all right, I'm okay with it because you're okay with it. You know?
It's kind of a arm twist situation.
Yeah.
Like if
They do have those,
yeah. But if you don't want it, and you're saying, okay, I don't really see the benefits, right? Or do
Like I
you,
said,
do
I
you
just
see the
be-
benefits? Do you see? First of all, I don't want to speak for you. Do you see the benefits of being married as a man?
No.
Okay, so you don't see the benefits of marriage, but you willing to get married if someone else does,
Yeah.
and you care deeply for it.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice.
I
I'm willing
feel
to make.
like that is a arm twisting situation. If she knows you don't want it, and apparently you don't need it because I explained why.
But you make
Early.
sacrifices
But yeah,
in relationships.
Yeah, relationship
Like, you
is
just-
compromise.
But that is an unnecessary sacrifice. That is.
Is it? All right, let me
it's
say
not
this.
It's an unnecessary
Let me-
I mean,
sacrifice.
if it's
let me-
important to her,
yeah.
I don't see how it's unnecessary.
Well, let me say this.
With every, go ahead.
He's with someone who wants
I'm not,
to get.
but
No, not now. But if he's with
Just
someone,
hypothetical.
yeah. If he's,
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, he's with someone who wants to be married.
yeah,
This
Right.
person's like, hey, I want to be married. I want to have their future with him. And he's like, nah, I'm not feeling that. And then she's like, well, I'm not feeling this situation. And then he effectively loses somebody he truly cares about. And then she goes off and gets married. He's scrolling on Facebook looking at her photos of her wedding and how fascinating her life is now. And he's all tore up about that. I mean, what? Why? This is the person he wanted to be with forever.
Right.
So why? Why just because? Why even feel like that's not even a situation where you should feel like you're being forced. You should feel like shit. Sorry for the language. After,
I'm not sorry for that.
oh, can we just? Oh, because I would have been.
I don't think you should spaz. Like, come on, reasonable.
All right, well, what you're saying makes sense. It makes sense on paper. But if a relationship is more than one side, of course you have to have sacrifices to
Absolutely.
coexist.
Yeah.
But that sacrifice, why do you want marriage so far? And as you said, marriage for women is a very important situation, and I understand that. But if you can explain to her and get her on the same side, you can draw up a contract, a personal contract. You don't have to involve government in your decisions. There are ways to wed without marriage.
So it
If that
sounds
makes
like
sense.
the question is, why do women want marriage so bad?
Because they benefit from it. Because I
Is
think
it-
every
well,
man on the
yeah,
panel
yeah.
is pretty much like,
Yeah.
we don't really benefit as much
Right.
from it.
Is it?
Well, I don't
is
know
it-
about Russell, but
Is it the, is it the social benefits, or is it like
definitely
I just
a
want to
big
be
social benefit.
It
outline
would have to be social benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually see this online a lot, like where they'll say, when I get married, I'm gonna my husband you to death.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
literal statement that
Show off the
women
ring
say
and all
and
that.
share it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the wedding
Or they take the
itself.
pictures.
Yeah, the
they
wedding
take the
itself.
pictures that always have the ring in it.
Yeah, the wedding,
that's
the
a
wedding
social.
itself, the
Yeah, no,
exclusively
yeah,
a social.
it's a social
showing off,
Yeah.
showing off the ring. Now they get additional benefits as well. Like I said, the financial support, the emotional pillar,
Right,
all that. But all of that stuff exists before the ring. You just don't have the law to dictate it.
But that's also you gotta weed all that out though. You gotta weed. You gotta wait. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta find you can find that person that wants to all the social and whatnot and do all that kind of stuff. But you gotta also figure out, is this person going to want to do the work? And sometimes that's fairly easy to
I
see.
mean, it's impossible to know that. until
Sometimes
you're
it
in
is
that
fair.
situation.
No, but it's a lot easier to see a person who won't do the work than it is to see a person who will do the work. Because usually you can figure out pretty quick, like, yo, this person is not going to be 100% doing
After
what
time,
we
you
need
know.
to do
Well-
in this marriage. You can see that clearly.
You can, but people change. As you said yourself, after your first divorce, you said, "No, I'm done." So if somebody came to you right there at that moment, Ray, I want to be with you, whatever, and then if someone is willing to put in work, effort, however you want to say it, you can't really tell until you put them to the task.
Yeah. I mean, that comes with time. That comes with struggles and all kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, it gets weeded out though at a certain point. All that crap gets filtered out at a certain point. You'll get to a point where you're like, okay, this person gonna ride with me like hard.
I can agree with that.
All right, so we don't have much time left, so I did want to get this one out because this one is very, very important.
Okay.
And it's something I don't know about. So I hear people saying something about, you don't give wife benefits to somebody that's your girlfriend.
Why
like
buy the cow when the milk's
Yeah. So both of y'all have been in that situation where you were dating the person and whatever, and y'all crossed over into marriage. Did anything from the relationship change?
No, it is.
It's exactly what I thought it would be.
Listen,
because I'm like, come on, that's crazy.
Listen,
Come on.
Listen,
Talk to me.
the job I do, I work with all women, and we have these kind of conversations. I am literally the only man at this job. We have these conversations all the time, and they say, "Well, you don't give wife benefits as a girlfriend," and I asked them. I've asked other women. I've asked a plethora of women. Okay, well, what changes? Well, I'm his wife now. Okay, but what does that mean? What are you doing differently? What should you do differently?
Right, as a wife.
As a wife, and I'm half stepping as a boyfriend. You're going to be upset that I'm half stepping as a boyfriend, and the likelihood of us making it to marriage is less than not.
Yeah.
But if I'm giving my all as a boyfriend, and we connect, and we're together, and we're by ourselves, and we're putting this in together, and we're all in, then that's it. There's no more after that. After you reach 100%, that's it.
So what you say? This will be the last one, and then we're gonna close out.
That's a complicated question in the sense of when you were talking about you could be a great boyfriend.
Ask the question again.
You could be a great boyfriend and a terrible husband. Just like you could be a terrible boyfriend and a great husband. Things do change. There are subtle things that you yourself change on a subconscious level when you get married that you yourself don't notice. Sometimes women won't notice it. They know you have changed in a way. They can't particularly pick it out, but you are different.
Yeah.
When you say I do, you do change.
Okay, Denzel.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Elaborate.
Should a girlfriend already establish herself as a wife type of thing, or should she wait to give
a better question? Did your wife change when she got married to you?
Did you receive
what
wife
changed?
benefits?
A little bit on a
Just a poquito.
Yeah, just a little bit on from what I've noticed so far, because obviously I just got remarried in December, so she has opened up more of an emotional thing to me. She was already like that, but it's opened up even more. There were things that I didn't know were closed off to me. That after we were married, I realized like, oh snap! I didn't know I can receive this now. I didn't know that was an option
More
until
So nothing.
we got married.
Nothing quantifiable.
I mean, to you,
I
maybe.
guess
Is there nothing?
I'm just saying.
Is there anything to quantify change, or is it just going to be a personal state?
I mean, it's just all personal.
No. I'm asking. He asked the question: is there any change from girlfriend to wife? I'm assuming quantifiable things that people can see.
Yeah.
Well.
But he knows it's there.
Yeah.
You know it's there, but I'm asking, is there anything quantifiable? Because the question I asked the ladies I work with, the question I just answered, and the question I asked the other people, there's nothing quantifiable.
So it's nothing.
Even you said a little bit. And I mean, like a little bit. Is that really?
I mean, there may be. That may be. There's probably some major things. I mean,
that'll change over time
me
anyway.
Going back to school now, working on trying to get my master's and all that. That she's a huge part of that. She played a huge financial part in that. That's a huge. That may
Would
have
she
not
have
been
done
something.
that anyway?
Probably not. when I say a huge financial stake in it, I do mean a huge financial stake in it.
I don't know what the word
He's-
is. Apparently.
I'm just saying, like money that you would not probably give a girlfriend is this is the type of money she
Okay.
has said invested.
I've heard that before. All right. Yeah. I can agree to the
So yeah,
money
she's
thing
done that
to
as
an
well.
extent.
That's fair.
I just think sometimes just
disagree.
over time
I
that
disagree.
probably would have been the same result.
Maybe it may be.
Like,
It may
maybe
have
be,
been.
she because she's a woman, and like more, and a lot of women like marriage, right? So she feels like, oh, this is my husband, so I would do this quicker than what I would have normally have done.
Maybe.
It was on the same timeline.
But you have-
it's possible.
you
Maybe
just-
that is
you
possibility.
That is possible.
So I'm like,
but
there's no difference besides time.
that is possible, but from my experience, these are experiences. These is not necessarily facts, as I stated earlier. But these are my experiences that women generally give quicker and more than men do. Men tend to live with women. They tend to drive their women cars. They tend to get the debit cards. Women tend
A little bit of that.
tend to take care of their
That sucks.
external relationship babies
Women doing some big
and,
things
and
nowadays,
such. So they
They are.
give a lot more, a lot quicker. I feel like this situation probably be done without marriage.
Fill in the blank, said thing or whatever.
Right.
I will not do said thing until I'm married to this person or whatever. And there's a lot of women like that.
Fair enough.
A lot of them like that.
Okay, so I think we pretty much covered all
Yeah,
our bases
I
here.
think so.
But for you guys, I think the question should be for the guys: is marriage right for you? Do you want to get married, and why? And for the ladies, if you want to get married, why? Why do you want to get married? I think that's a pertinent question for each party. Before you dive into it, find out why you want to do it. Is it something that's being pushed on you? Is it societal? Or is it something that you really do want to do? Ask yourself before you do it. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for us, right?
Yeah. I'm happy to have our special guest. We have Don.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Ray, for joining
Always
us.
a pleasure.
We
Always
might
a
be
pleasure.
doing this again at some point in time. Our first little live. Appreciate everybody who stopped in to join us for a while. We'll be uploading this to our YouTube channel and probably in a few days, so stay tuned for that. But B. Ryder,
J Bell.
and this has been
Final thoughts.